So now I request friend Shri Krishna Kadiri to speak about who is Radha. Who is Radha is a very difficult question because Radha is now everywhere. Without Radha, we cannot imagine the Krishna. It is a pan-Indian culture or whatever we can call. But what is the reality from Shastra perspective? So that will be dealt by Kadiri Krishna. Kadiri Krishna, as you know, is techno crack or
technology guy.
Technology guy, but he has a passion for the Shastras and studied Shastras with our Haridasa, Acharya, Satyanarayana, Acharya, and so many other people. More importantly, he is my fellow Satirthya because I studied with our Vyasaraja Swamiji, Vidyashrishatirtha Swamiji. Now he is also studying with Vidyashrishatirtha Swamiji. And I am very much happy that our Madhva Siddhanta is in safe hands with such people are turning to the Shastras. We have Pranesh also, and we have Narayan Parvatik, and who have good command on Shastras. And our Dr. Srinidhi and Sheshgiri and Dr. Pratosh is a shining example. And many more people are there who have wantedly or unwantedly they studied technology or into other fields, but they turned into Shastras. And we have seen such many people in Karnataka Sanskrit University. After 30 or 40, they take voluntary retirement and they come to the Shastras to study what is there. Because technology, you cannot go perpetually coding all these things. And it is very important that we should train all our younger people in Shastras. They can study both technology and modern science, technology, etc. But at the same time, they should study the Shastras. They should have critical outlook of the Shastras, studying Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all other things, and also the rigorous Pramana Shastra. That will be very interesting for them to have a critical outlook. The philosophy of Shastras, that will be. It is not only the Shastra, but the philosophy of Shastras will be understood only if you study Shastras, the Nyaya Shastra or the Dvaita Vedanta epistemology as clearly put forward by Vyasatirtha and Sri Jaitirtha and all other people. So I welcome Krishna Kadiri to speak about who is Radha. I hope you have enough time. We will not be able to time. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ
ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ ನರಸಿಂಹೋ ಅಖಿಲಾಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತಧ್ವಾಂತ ದಿವಾಕರಃ ಜಗತ್ಯಮಿರುಷಜ್ಞಾನ ಸುಖಶಕ್ತಿಪಯೋನಿಧಿಃ ಧ್ಯಾಯೇದ್ ಹರಿನ್ಮಣಿಪಂ ಜಗದೇಕವಂದ್ಯಂ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯಸಾರಮರಿಶಂಕವರಾಭಯಾನಿ ದೋರ್ಧೃತಧಾನ್ವಜಿತಂ ಸುಖಸ್ಮಿಂ ಚ ಭೈಷ್ಮೀ ಸತ್ಯಾಸಮೇತಂ ಜಲಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬಿದೇಶಂ ವಸತು ಶ್ರೀಮದಾನಂದತೀರ್ಥಂ ದುರ್ನೋ ಹೃದಂಬರೇ ಅದ್ವತಶ್ಚಂದ್ರಿಕಾ ಸ್ವಾಂತಸಂತಾಪಂ ವಿನಿಗೃಹ್ಯತಿ. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ. I think we all know Radha from a popular literature and the current cultural or the religious mindset that most of us Bharatiyas have. So my research or whatever it is started a few years back, and I have been supported ably by my friends on this journey on this topic, simply because just like we Madhvas, right, followers of Matha Acharya, right, we seem to have certain peculiarities. When I say peculiarities, these are, we have a deity called Mukhya Prana who is not even cognized by the rest of the public, right? But on the other hand, rest of the public seems to know about Radha, whereas there is literally no mention of Radha in our literature. So, I'm sure that every other sect have their own peculiarities. I was reading some Jain literature on their Aparoksha Jnana, or what happens after Aparoksha Jnana. They call it something else, Kevala Jnana or whatever it is. After that, and they also have a lot of literature around that, so which we are totally unaware of. So this thing was, I was trying to get into the pramana and what was this? And so let me tell me the point. We had a long discussion on one of the mailing groups long time back. I don't know when you mentioned, maybe some 10 years back. I don't remember, 10 years back now. So I'm trying to here mention what exactly is the point of contention. ವಿವಾದಾಸ್ಪದ ವಿಷಯ ಏನು. ಸೊ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಕರ್ನಾಸ್ ಮದರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ರಾಧಾ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಗೋಪಿಕಾ ಸ್ತ್ರೀ ನೇಮ್ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು, ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು 3-4 ಜನದ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ರಾಧಿಕಾ, ವಿಮಲಾ, ಹಿಂಗೆಲ್ಲ. So there is there are Gopika names also. Some of them are mentioned in the Puranas. This much is also acceptable to us as a Matha. So I am trying to basically come to the point of Radha Swarupa purely from a Matha perspective. I am not trying to convince everybody or anything like that. Please be assured. And I am aware that there are a lot of Radhas among Mathas themselves, right? I mean, there are many women whose name is Radha. There are many people whose house will have a Vrindavana visit with Radha Damodara Namaha, Radha Damodara Prasanna. And so I'm I'm aware of that part. So that is the reason why I'm trying to mention my point of contention more clearly. And I will also tell the conclusion that I want to drive later. So we agree that Lakshmi has a name Radha. In fact, Lakshmi is also Sarvashabda Vachya, which is that she is also known by all names other than the what we call as Purva Prasiddha Varja, which is the names unique to Narayana. Other than those, she is known by all names. So Radha is also just one of the names, and the word Radha is that comes from the root Radha, which means Vruddhav, Samruddha, some. Radha Samsar. There are some 3 meanings, but when it is Akarmaka, it is Vruddhav is the main dhatu that is given there. So you can imagine that she is anyway Purna. So in a relative sense, she is also complete, infinite. Therefore, she can also be called Radha. You can say that she even has a form whose name is Radha. Okay, that also is not a problem. That we can also say that I mean, if you people know the entire Krishna's history, right? I am assuming that we are not going to start from there. So there is a Gopika Stree in Vrindavana whose name is Radha, and she has Lakshmi's presence. That much is also acceptable. The point of contention is that she herself is Lakshmi. That is the point of contention. So people believe, even among some Madhvas also do, that she was herself Lakshmi. So my point here is to present evidence or Acharya's words which point out to the contrary. Radha, who was in Vrindavana, is not Lakshmi. She may have had Lakshmi's presence, please note. Okay, but she is not Lakshmi. And it is important for us because there are some people who interpret these Purana Vakyas and whatever evidence I'm going to talk about later as Radha being Lakshmi herself. No, it cannot be the case, and that's why I will present evidence for that. Now, what are the sources that we will use for having this discussion? Basically, the Veda, Mahabharata, Puranas. For the time being, we will not get into the whether the Satvika Purana, Rajas Purana, that classification we will not get into. But because we are going to rely heavily on Acharya's work, which is Mahabharata Atmanani and Bhagavata Atmanani. These are, in my opinion, I mean, as the name suggests, they are nirnayatmaka, they are conclusive. They basically come to this conclusion after all considerations. So we can accept it, and even, I mean, it's not just from the point of a follower point of view, right? It's not, Shuddham, Pramanam, Same, all those things are there, right? Even apart from that, Acharya's works themselves show that he has been a great researcher He could have told, look, I am Vayotara, so I know what the true Mahabharata is. He doesn't do that. He says, I have gone to each of these places, different places, collected manuscripts, and then therefore I am presenting the final story here in Mahabharata. So that shows what kind of a research mindset that he had. In fact, it is unfortunate that many of us do not cultivate that as his follower. And we will come to that's a different point later. We will come to that later. So we will also talk about some of his followers' works. Yeah. So very briefly, I will talk about what Acharya says on Krishna's wives. I think many of you who may have read my article, right? You will see that there are 3 times when Krishna marries the women. One is when he is before his Mathura stage, right? Before his Mathura, he has he has met Neela. He has married Neela. He marries some of the gopis. He doesn't marry some of the gopis, but he gives them anga sanga, right? Which is basically he gives them the pleasures, and he is So this is the first set in his. This is actually even before his Upanayana, right? Then he comes to Mathura, and then Rukmini, Satyabhama. In fact, I will just. I'll even mention this one, right? He marries Kalindi Neela again. Neela was married even before, and only Acharya resolves that there is a big issue over there. Okay, when did he marry Neela? So Neela is again born in a different. They are all Samshajivas, so they have multiple amshas. So she's again born. Her previous amsha merges into this one. So Acharya marries that Neela also. Sorry. Krishna marries her also. Kalindi, Neela, Mitravrinda, Bhadra, and Lakshana. This is the order in which he marries the Shanmahis. This is the second stage. The third stage is when he frees the princesses from Narakasura's prison or whatever it is. So that is where he meets the 16,000 of them, and he meets all of them. He marries all of them, because they were Akshata Yonayaha and all those things. So there are 3 stages in which Krishna marries all the people. There are some women that he has children also with, like for example, the Trivakra, right? He has a son from her, Ashoka, Vishoka, I think, right? And but he doesn't marry her. He also doesn't marry many of the Gopika Stris who are already married. He doesn't marry them. Okay. So now, what Acharya says is that, this is an important point here. He says, he identifies Rukmini and Satyabhama as Sakshat Lakshmi. He does this in many places. Okay. So, for example, when Satyabhama's marriage is talked about, he says the Bhu Rupa of Rama is Satyabhama. The Shri Rupa of Rama is Rukmini. Okay. There is Lakshmi also is born as the Yogamaya, basically the Krishna's sister here. Okay, before all of these things, even when Krishna was born, but she doesn't seem to have a role after that. Basically, she comes, she wants Kamsa, she laughs, coughs at him, she gets him into a depression, and then she vanishes. That's what she does. But if you see the rest of the people that with whom Krishna had an amorous relationship, so to speak, right? So you will find that Rukmini and Satyabhama are Sakshat Lakshmi. Acharya mentions this. Tato hi Sacha Rukmini. Sa is Satyabhama. Rukmini Priye. Priye is the Dvivachana here. Okay. Priye Priyasu Tedhikam. Okay. Very clear. Then again later in a different chapter, he mentions when all the other marriages are mentioned in Mahabharata Nirnaya, he mentions that Rukmini and Satya are Sakshat Lakshmi. Among the rest, Jambavati is the most important one. So now he is basically telling that the first level is Lakshmi, and then you have the Shanmahishis, of which whom Jambavati is superior, not because of an intrinsic superiority, but because of Lakshmi's extra presence over there. So in our Siddhanta, right? The presence, the Avesha or something like that also has degrees. You can have Vishesha Sannidhya, you can have Samanya Sannidhya and so on. So, for example, Vali has a Samanya presence of Paramatma, Samanya Avesha of Hari. Acharya mentions all these things. So there are degrees, and in that, Jambavati is the one who has Lakshmi's presence, and whenever she has Lakshmi's presence in her, she is equal to Balarama. That is, 10 times her, 5 times more her gunas, right? Balarama, Sesha are basically 2 power 5 times the number of gunas that the next one, which is Shanmahi, have. So she's that better because of Lakshmi's presence. Okay. And and eventually in moksha, she will not have that presence, is the main idea there. Okay. So we have covered 2 stages of the wives. Rukmini and Satya are called Sakshat Lakshmi. Then there is Shanmahishi who are not Lakshmi, but who are much or inferior to her. Then we talk about Krishna's 16,000 wives. Okay. So here, important thing is that, Acharya is mentioning that they are twice superior to, they have twice as many gunas, that's 2 power 2 actually, 4 times as many gunas that the 16,000 ladies, they have more gunas than the Gopika Stris. Okay. Krishna Priyebhyo Gopibhyo Bhaktito Dvigunadhika. Mahishyo Ashto Vina Yastaha Katitha Krishna Vallabhaha. So these 16,000, other than the, actually it is 16,100. Okay, but anyway. So these 16,100 people are superior to the Gopika Stris. And he also mentions that, he gives this Antaryani Samhita quote in Bhagavad Tatvarya that I have put on the screen, which basically tells the gradation of his devotees, some of his devotees. For example, they more than these 16,100 wives is Yashoda. Okay. And even higher to her, superior to her is Devaki. So Devaki is considered more, though she spent lesser time with Krishna, right, in the initial days. She is superior to Yashoda. And superior to her is Vasudeva. And superior to Vasudeva is Arjuna. And superior to him is Balarama. And even, okay, and after that, there is nobody other than Brahma, who is as devoted to Purushottama. That is what this quote simply says. Important thing for us here is that among these 16,100 ladies, Kasheru, who is the Twashtaputri, is the most important one. Acharya mentioned this one. So see how detailed he's going, and he's giving you all the details of he's giving you the people, amshas, where do they stand in the Taratamya and so on and so forth. No mention of Radha anywhere. Please note that. Okay. Then when he talks about Gopika Stris, he says Adana Devaihi Sarvagunaihi Samasta Swabhavato Atha Indire Gunadhika. He basically tells them, they are superior to the Adana Devatas, also the Gopika Stris. Okay. And he mentions them here. Now the question for us is, okay, yeah. So very clearly, Acharya has not mentioned Radha anywhere, wherever it is needed. Okay, if Radha was a Gopika Stri, he should have told her there. And if she was Lakshmi herself, okay, he should have told her there. See, the problem in all our Siddhanta is that is a non-mention, a pramana or not. Basically, if I don't mention something, how will it become a pramana? Okay, but for us,
don't do that.
But for us, it is a pramana where if something needs to be told, but it is not told. Avashyam vaktavyatve sati ekadesha matra vachanam nyonata. It becomes a dosha if it is not told. That's why you will find in the Brahma Sutras also that, anabhilapacha, there are many places where the sutras use the concept or the tenet that something which should have been mentioned is not mentioned. Therefore, that absence of mention is an evidence for absence. Where it should have been, it is not good. Here, very clearly, there are all these instances are cases where he should have mentioned, because otherwise it will lead to ignorance. Or, I mean, if you say that, Acharya is okay giving you ignorance, you can basically dump all those ideas of Shuddham, Pramanam, Same, all those, him as the main Acharya who is giving you anything but correct knowledge. So that is the reason why we think that Acharya's non-mention here is an important Praman. Bunny, waiting. Right? Now let's talk about how these people do their exit. Basically, how do they do their Deha Tyaga? Okay. Again, see here. Agno Antardadhe Bhishmi Satyabhama Vane Tatha. Okay. Very clearly. He says that when Krishna ends his avatara, Rukmini just disappears into fire. She jumps and then she disappears from there. Okay. Satyabhama, she disappears in a forest. Okay. Now, other 16,100 ladies whom he married, they get into some sort of serious problem in the sense that they get a little arrogant, that they own Krishna. And Mahabharata Atmanirnaya has these two very strong instances where people are told not to develop that kind of notion that I own Krishna. One is when Duryodhana is telling, right, he will tell Krishna, Yudhishthira, you can create rage with Krishna also. And that is a time when Bhimasena will get very angry. Till then he is objecting, but not so strongly. But when Duryodhana tells, now we can wage Krishna, right? Bhima gets angry. And this revenge is taken when he kills Duryodhana also. He will kick him and then he will tell, you wanted Yudhishthira to wage Krishna? He will ask him then. So anybody feeling ownership of Krishna is doing a grave sin. So these ladies do that, the 16,100 ladies, and therefore they get cursed by Krishna himself. Krishna Shapat, yes. Okay. And therefore they get into the Mlecha's hands after Krishna's avatar hands. Arjuna is unable to save them. So later they send Dalbhya Muni, okay, who will tell them how to do the Govinda Ekadashi Vrata. They will do that in the Saraswati Nadi. And after that, they will basically discard their bodies and then get moksha. This is the fate of 16,100 of them. What about the other Gopika Stris? They basically discard their bodies, is what he just tells. Shanmahishi also basically they discard their bodies.
Along with this,
Correct. Shanmahishi ಹಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬಿಟ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು. So this is another very opportune moment. This is one necessary moment when Acharya should have told what did Radha do if at all she was Krishna Patni number one, and if at all she was Krishna Lakshmi herself. Very clearly, Acharya is very interested in telling you that Lakshmi does not have physical body destruction. Natu deha viyogasti tayoho shuddha chidatmano. He is not telling them that. And he tells the same thing for other people who are not in Lakshmi category. So he doesn't mention Radha here. He doesn't mention Radha either here, nor in the, in the Gopika Stri thing. Right? If she was Lakshmi, that was a most opportune moment. So unless we accept that Acharya is promoting ignorance, right, we cannot take this stance that, Radha is Lakshmi. Again, another very clear indication. Now, let me go to another one there, okay? So he again mentions this thing. This is basically in a different context in the fourth skanda Tatvarnirnaya. He says, basically this is in the context of Pruthu and Sudati being born there. Sudati Tatra Sannihita Shrishcha Yatra Sannihito Hari. I think basically the idea is that if Hari is present as an Avesha, let's say in Pruthu, Hari is present as an Avesha, right? That's the case. Pruthu is not Hari himself, Vishnu himself. So Pruthu's wife is not Lakshmi. Okay? Just because of her Avesha being there, she doesn't become this person's wife. Okay? She will have her Avesha whenever Hari's Avesha is there. That's all. But when Hari's own avatara is there, like Krishna or whatever it is, she can be present either as an Avesha or as an avatar. Okay? And here he mentions again, as in the case of Gopikas, see here, Gopyadi Rupa Bhavati Viparitam Nata Kvachit. So again, another very opportune moment. If there was Lakshmi among the Gopikas, this is a place you should have. These are the two important points. I mean, three places where there were most opportune moment or the necessary moment when Acharya should have told Radha is Lakshmi, but he totally misses it. Or Radha is not Lakshmi. That is what our stance is. Right? So let's look at, but there are many, we'll see what others have said here. Okay. I will try to now, there are, before we go there, right? There are some people in our Sampradaya who said that Radha may have been Neela. Right? That is one possibility that is generally entertained in our community, right? So if you see the Radha that is mentioned in the Puranas, right? There is a very clear distinction between the way the Radha's thing is and Neela's thing is. Okay. Radha is not the first person to marry Krishna. Neela is. Okay. Radha is Vrishabhanu's daughter. Neela is, I think, what do you call? Kumbhaka's daughter. Okay. Kumbhaka is Yashoda's brother also. Okay. That is one more interesting thing from a different Dharma Shastra point of view. But yeah, Vrishabhanu is not related to Nanda or Yashoda according to the Puranas that are out there. Okay. So, and the way Neela is married and later she merges into the other Rupa and all those things, that is not mentioned anywhere here. None of the Puranas mention. And none of the Puranas also mention what happened. Now, let's come to, so that's why I think, basically, Radha Shinmahishi ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ರಾಧಾನೇ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸತ್ಯಭಾಮನ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣಿ ಸತ್ಯಭಾಮ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಮಥುರಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಥುರಾಗೆ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರೋದು ಅವರು. Dwarkadal. Sorry. I mean, after Vrindavan. Whereas Radha is in Vrindavan. Okay. Now, Vrindavanadalli iddiddu Neela operation Mahishiyalli. But Akino alla anta ee hesarugal difference inda gottagutte. We can know from the names differences itself. Right? You can't even say that, Vrishabhanu and Kumbhaka are two names of the same person. The relationship is also mentioned. Vrishabhanu is not related to them. He is just another Gopa over there. On the other hand, Vrishabhanu is Kumbhaka is Yashoda's brother. So you can't say that the two people are one and the same then. Because of these, I think we can conclude that Radha is not Neela also. So the only other possibility is Radha is one of the Gopi Stris there. I mean, that is anyway known also, but we also know that what I'm trying to say is Radha is one of the Gopi Stris that is mentioned by Acharya, where, they also do Dehatyaga and things like that, where Acharya has intentionally left out, not mentioning that Radha is Lakshmi or whatever it is, or he basically thinks that Radha is really not Lakshmi. There are other sources here now, which our people are bound to get to, which is these Puranas. Okay, there is the Radhashtami mention is there. I have mentioned some of those things here. I will quickly go through some of them. Now, one is basically the Padma Puranas thing also, which is there are some 3 chapters there which talk about a Goloka above Brahmanda. Now, if you see most of the Gaudiya literature right now, right, you will find a mention that Brahmanda is there, and there are many such Brahmandas floating, right? And there is one Krishna. I'm talking about the Gaudiya literature. There is one Krishna in one Goloka who is basically controlling all of these things. Okay, his Vishnu, Narayana, okay, they are all his manifestations. They are all in controlling these things. Krishna's Bhagavan Swayam is still simpler. This one basically tells that, from one Krishna, 10 crore Vishnus will come up. I'll show you that word of this one. Tasyangri Rajas Parshatu Koti Vishnu Prajayate. This is what is there in one of the Padma Puranas. So from one Krishna's foot dust, 1 crore Vishnus are born, who are basically controlling the rest of the. So the point is that, so Krishna is the main guy. There is a Goloka over there. This idea of a Goloka outside Brahmanda or any Loka outside Brahmanda is vigorously refuted in our Siddhanta. You can read Sarasara, Sarva Siddhanta Sarasara Vivechanam by Vijayendra Swami. He basically, when refuting the Ramanuja Matha on this, okay, basically they assume that Vaikuntha is outside of Brahmanda. They quote Mahabharata, they quote Padma Purana, same some of these Puranas, and they try to tell that it is outside that. Here, Vijayendra Swami is very clear that a Mukta can go outside Brahmanda till the Avaranas and so on and so forth, but Vaikuntha is still within here. So there is a lot of argument on that. So according to the Siddhanta, there is no Goloka anywhere outside. Okay. All this literature, whatever you find in today's Puranas, that's why I have kept Puranas plus, because I want to say there is the Prakshipta Bhaga also. That is my personal opinion at least. That's why I'm calling it Puranas plus, right? So there is, if you take all these things there, right, you will find that there is a lot of description about how Krishna is the original God. More importantly, how Krishna brings forth Narayana, Vishnu, and thereafter Shankara, Brahma, and all these people. Some Puranas, right? I will give you some of the examples here, right? For example, in that 5.69 of Padma Purana, basically Rudra says that Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are infinital ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಅಂಶ ಸ್ವರೂಪಾಂಶ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. They say he is ಕೋಟ್ಯಾಂಶ of Krishna. Okay, yaru ಮೂರು, all three, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Okay, and then he also tells in the next one, okay, in which this basically goes against the dhyana mantra that Acharya has given. How is the Goloka there? Krishna is there, Radha is there, and then the next Parivara Devatas are Rukmini, Satyabhama, and other Maheshis. And then there are other, Arjuna and Balarama and all these other people there. So, yeah, I mean, we can still do Samanvaya, right? We can keep doing Samanvaya, applying all the huge Panditya that we have, but it may be a little more prudent to check if this version is reliable or not reliable. Okay, there is some amount of research that we need to do before we jump in and apply our Panditya, just because we have Panditya with us. Now, the thing is that the 5.71 is even more interesting. Okay. He basically tells that, Narada is trying to search for Lakshmi in the Vraja households, the Vrindavan and all these places. Very important. Okay, so he thinks that if Narayana is there, Lakshmi must also be here. This is very important for us. Then he goes out and searches for all of them, and he meets another Gopa called Bhanu. The Bhanu, what he does, he will basically introduce his son, who has many nice characteristics. He's about to leave, then he'll say, Bhanu will tell, if you want, you can please bless my daughter also. When that daughter comes, she is inactive, deaf, and blind. Okay? And so when she comes there, he is mesmerized looking at her. He goes into a trance. Ananda Anubhava. He experiences Ananda. And then he comes back. And then he says, I have been to all these lokas. I have not seen such beauty. Lakshmi is also nothing compared to her. Padma Purana 5.70. Okay. And then finally he says all of this, and he eventually concludes that she must be Lakshmi. Okay. Please look at remember what Acharya mentions is the characteristic of a darshana bhasha. Adyantaryor viruddham yat darshanam tad udapratam. Okay. First he tells he is not nothing, Lakshmi's beauty is nothing compared to her. And then eventually concludes that she is Lakshmi. Okay. Why? Okay, there is some more after this. Okay, then this is all told by Rudra to Narada, by the way. Okay, Rudra is describing all of this Narada's exploits to Parvati. Then he also tells, look, I know all these things because of Krishna's this thing. These things even Brahma and Sesha also don't know. He mentions these things. Okay, 1 minute. Let me. Oh no, that is in a little bit different one. Yeah. Then we'll go to Brihannaradiyya Purana. Brihannaradiyya Purana also contains the so-called Adhikamasa Mahatmya is extracted from Brihannaradiyya. There are two possible sources. One is Adhikamasokta, another one is Lakshmi Narayana Samhita. Both of them have some descriptions of Adhikamasa Maha. Now, both are highly corrupted sources, but anyway, for the sake of this discussion, we will not consider like that.
Don't think about Lakshmi Narayana Samhita.
Don't think about Lakshmi Narayana Samhita. That's why I put it in italics there. So with Garga Samhita also.
Garga Samhita is not that much of correct, but
So in Brihanaradiya Purana, basically Sanat Kumara gives a Sahasranama for Krishna and Radha together. Okay, and he tells these are the seeds for the current Gaudiya thoughts. Okay, in that he praises Radha as worshipped by Rama and worshipped by Krishna. Basically, Radha worships Krishna, Krishna worships Radha. That much is very clearly there in this one. Okay, and Yatu Radha Maya Prokta Krishnardhangana Samudbhava Goloka Vasini Satu Nitya Krishna Sahayini. Okay, all nice here.
acknowledge that.
Huh? Yeah, no, 1 minute. They don't acknowledge these things. That is the problem. Okay, there is a. I'll come to that in the next one. Okay.
Did not acknowledge.
I'll come to their this one. No, they don't.
We will see.
No, I will come to that. I'll come to the what Gaudiyas tell in their old granthas and what current Gaudiyas say. There is a difference between what Jiva Goswami tells and what the existing the current cult says, basically. Yeah. So then here basically here it says that Krishna Narayana was born out of Krishna and Mahalakshmi was born out of Radhika. Krishnasya Vamabhagatu Jato Narayana Swayam Radhikayascha Vamangat Mahalakshmir Babhuvaha. Okay? Yeah, I mean, people either read this or Mahabharata. You can't, I mean, you can still do some way of this also. Okay? We'll just say Arthakrama, Pathakrama, we can do all sorts of gymnastics. But somewhere we have to do some little bit of, have some intellectual honesty and then say this might be an interpolation. But anyway, I'll come to the both perspectives later.
Sorry,
which one?
This, which work is this?
This is Brihanaradiya Purana. Okay. Then there is little more. I mean, I have put all the details in my other article, but I don't. I will go to the Brahmanda Purana because there is more work to be covered here. In Brahmanda Purana, you will find Parashurama going to tapas for grace of. He wants to get two people's grace. One is Krishna and then another one is Rudradeva, Shankar. Okay. He goes and does tapas on all four people. Krishna, Radha, Shankara, Parvati. And they all appear in front of him. So he sees and he will ask for boon. And he says, whenever he meets Radha and Parvati, basically when they appear in front of him, he says, in whatever 1,000 births I take, Parashurama is telling this, okay, Paramatma's avatar, I please ensure that I become devotee of all you four. Parashurama is telling this. He also admits that, there is abheda between all four of them. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is Brahmanda Purana. I mean, people who insist on existence of Radha in Purana, please read them. Okay. You will have more understanding on this. Okay. Then there is Brahma Vaivarta Purana. According to me, this is the king of corrupted scriptures. Okay. But anyway, for the time being, I will withhold that opinion beyond this. Here, basically, Narayana is the one. This appears in, I think, 48th chapter, right? The Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and later also it is there. Basically, Shiva Parvati discussion is described again by Narayana there. So, there Rudra is, he first, Parvati again, like in the Padma Purana version, in Brahma Vaivarta, Parvati asks, please tell me about this Rama Radha. Right? He will then tell, don't tell anybody. Here is where he told, this is Yajjanami Rahasyam Cha Na Tat Brahma Na Phanishwara Janati. Okay. So again, Rudra knows something that Brahma doesn't know. Very nice. Right? No, here that is where the Rudra says that Krishna got excited seeing Radha. Acharya takes every opportunity to mention that Krishna is Swaramana. Okay. These Puranas don't seem to have that worry at all. Okay. The Purana says that, Radha bhajati tam Krishnam satatam cha parasparam. Okay. Ubhayoho sarvasamyam cha. Please. Okay. Sada santo vadanti cha. Okay. And it doesn't end there.
Except for that Purana where Radha mentions that none of these explicitly stated Radha.
That is my point. I'll come to that. You are right. Even that one also, Padma Purana is also doubtful because of the
explicit mentioning that Radha.
No, my point is in all these current Purana Vakyas, Radha is greater than Lakshmi. It is not just that she is not Lakshmi. No. That is important because people rely on these Puranas to say that Radha is Lakshmi. But I'm saying if you're relying just because the Radha word is there, please also come to the conclusion that Radha is greater than Lakshmi. Okay? now see here. Now what happens in this Purana is very interesting. Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there is one more story on, how Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati are all actually one deity who are separated. Okay? If you read that story, you will, and Tulsi is also involved over there, by the way. Okay? So that is more doubtful and, some of this one. And the point is that, what happens there is a beautiful situation here. Sudama will curse Radha to be separated from Krishna. This is happening in Goloka, in Mukta Loka. Remember, they are basically subject to all these anger, and all those things. And Sudama curses Radha to be born in Goloka. Okay? This is all in Mukta Loka. He is also by the way, in Mukta. So if you notice this, right, the way Christians have this thing about, fall from a nice position, right? They have this fall from the original sin is what made them fall from a pure or pristine state to a sinful state. That is what Christians believe. Even some of these Gaudiyas also believe like that. The Prabhupada and all those things you will believe, fall from the original this thing types. But it is not there in the original this one. We have Anadimaya Supto Jiva. That is our situation. Right? It has always been, there is nothing like a default state where we were this thing or, without sin or ignorance. But anyway, so here Sudama will curse and then she will come here. And then she is born of Rishabhanu and, whatever Brihannariya tells, the same thing is told here. So then Krishna, Rudra tells this thing. Okay. I want to know whoever is there in our Sampradaya who believes that Radha is Lakshmi. He tells this thing. Adav Radham Samucharya. Paschat Krishnam Vadedbhuda. Okay. Vyatikame Brahmahatyam Labhate Naraha Asamshaya. Natra Samshaya. Okay. Radha Krishna Antane Hedeku. Allah Unimsha. Now Om Tat Sat. Our this thing is, first thing you should tell is either Om or Tat or Sat. Okay. So the Gita thing goes for a toss. First you should tell Radha. Okay. I do not know. You know better. I know Aliguya. Allah, Rajan Tondre. Allah, but our. No, that is fine. The point here is that whether is that is if I say Rama Sita, is it sinful? Rama Sita and Thedadra sinful. Allah, answer Rama Sita and Thedadra Papa Kari. Illa, you're held to the Papa Kari. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗೋಣಂತೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತದೆ, ನಾರಾಯಣ ಏನಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಯಾರು ವೈಕುಂಠದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾನೋ, he is doing puja of Radha in Goloka and he wears a kavacha to cover protecting himself. Chakara pujam Radhayaha tat kavacham harihi dadhara kantho bahocha. Then not only that, he basically gets some tambula that is partially eaten by Radha and then he has that. Yaru Narayana. Okay, Radha Charbita Tambulam Chakadha Madhusudhana. Okay, then what happens? There is another story. Puranas is telling all these wonderful stories. So people who rely on these Puranas, please note all these other portions also. Don't go superficial. So Radha becomes invisible to Krishna. Okay,
Krishna becomes invisible to Radha.
No.
In Bhagavata.
In Bhagavata. Yeah, in the Gopis. Yeah, but here Radha is becoming invisible to Krishna in the Loka, Goloka. Then what happens? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva become Bhashta Ishwarya. Okay, they are devoid of their glories. Sarve Babuhu Devascha. Brahma, Vishnu, Shivadaya, Bhrashta Ishwarya, Nishrikaha, Bharyahinahi, Upadrataha. Because Radha became invisible. She wanted to show her glories. So she became invisible to Krishna. Okay, and then because of that, Krishna, everybody lost their luster. Okay.
Herself is Parvati also. When she is in
No. There is another story in the Puranas. One of the other Puranas also tells this story. There are the Pitru Devatas have 3 children. Okay, who take birth as something, and eventually they take birth as Parvati, Sita, and Radha. So there, in one of I think it's in Matsya Purana, if I am not wrong, it basically tells that Radha is Krishna Patni. Okay, please again recollect, Acharya has not mentioned it anywhere. Okay, in all this one. So it is very clear that the Puranas have a lot more stuff that are basically not acceptable to Acharya, at least on this one. The possible approaches to Samanvaya, right? I will come before that. Let me talk about what the
Bhagavata says. We have talked about so many Puranas.
I come to that. Give it a little. Bhagavata doesn't say anything. Okay. There is Lakshmi Narayana Samhita is there. I have not gone into it because people believe that it is corrupted or whatever it is. So
written in 1960s.
Written in 1960s.
It has reference to Canada, Africa, and all other places.
Okay. There is Garga Samhita also. Now, Garga Samhita is used by many of our pravachanakaras in their pravachanas. So people think that automatically they think it is a pramana also for that reason. But I mean, there is one chapter on how Duryodhana is taught something over there. There is, it also tells that Brahma is born as Aniruddha. There are many such Siddhanta Viruddha concepts in these places. Okay. But so, and Garga Samhita is not quoted by any of our people until again 19th century. Okay. Garga Smriti is quoted, but not Garga Samhita. Okay. Huh? Garga Smriti is about some astronomical details. Okay. Yeah, Krishnacharya in Smriti Muktavali he quotes that one.
Vruddhagargi Jyotisha is famous.
Yeah.
Very famous one.
Garga Smriti.
No. So many Gargas, Vastu is there, Gargas Murti is there, Gargas Jyotisha is there, everything is there. A very big school, thousands of years school ran.
So Jiva Goswami's thing I will tell you. Now see, the thing is that for me, I mean personally, I think, it is difficult to basically figure out which Purana is Prakshipta or which Purana is valid and things like that. Okay. So one option that people have taken is to basically take the current version and then try to write some commentary on top of that. And that is how the traditional view is. You try to explain away some of these things. Okay, whether you are explaining or you are just trying to escape is what it is. It depends on the person who is reading it. But what I am trying to do is what Acharya tells about how we can decide whether something has been Guda Kartruka, right? In a totally different context. He mentions that if there is no parampara, it is Guda Kartruka. Now, obviously, there is no parampara for most of the text there, right? I mean, you can have Vyakhyana parampara or Upadesha parampara or some of these things. But for how many of these Puranas, there is Vyakhyana parampara. So is it a reliable measure is the point that you may have. My way of looking at it is, if a particular section is not used by the proponent of that particular tenet, even in the most necessary moment, then it is Prakshipta. That is my way of looking at it. My reason for mentioning the Jiva Goswami's Krishna Sandarbha is that he mentions all these Puranas, whatever I mentioned before. Okay. And there are some more. I mean, some Yamala Tantra and all those things he mentions in his Krishna Sandarbha. Basically, Jiva Goswami is one of the earlier Gaudiyas, right? I think he was there from a few years after Chaitanya. Maybe third or fourth generation is what his location is. I mean, I think Tikara Baladeva will be the person, and I think he will be around somewhat junior. I don't know. There are two people, Jiva and Rupa Goswamis. They are kind of considered six brothers. But he has written this Shat Sandarbha. Basically, there are 6 Sandarbhas that he has written: Preeti Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, and so on and so forth. Bhakti Sandarbha. Oh, yeah. So in Krishna Sandarbha is where he brings up this topic of whether Radha is Lakshmi or not. He tries to prove that Radha is Lakshmi there. And these are the things that he quotes there, which are in proof of his idea. He quotes all those Puranas, but none of those sections that whatever are important over there. Okay. He also interestingly quotes this particular Shruti. See there. Okay. We have to go verify that one, whether it is there in all versions or not. Okay. These people are little more prone to giving versions from texts that were immediately available, which were suddenly found after the Gaudiya tradition was formed, kind of thing. So Radhaya Madhavo Devaha Madhavenaiva Radhika Vibhrajante Janeshu A Vibhrajante Vibhrajate. So this is the Shruti that he quotes. Okay. So is this also a proof of Radha is Lakshmi? I don't think so, but for the timing, let's because he is not mentioning that this Radha, who is the Gopika Shri, is what is mentioned over here. This Shruti is not telling you that part. With that, there are some people who have mentioned Radha in our Siddhanta also, right? This is what Vijendra Swamiji has quoted in his Vyakhyana to Vishnu Stuti. The problem is not just he talking about Radha doing Namaskara to Radha. He is talking about Natva Radhamcha Bhaktya, and after that Brahmavatadi Devan. So first he is doing Namaskara to Radha and then to Brahmavayu and other people. Okay. So this is one such interesting thing. It is a strong one. Then there are Dasarapadas which mention Radha also. Who has made that? Vijendra Swamiji in his commentary on Trivikram Acharya's Vishnu Stuti. Yeah, he has made that sloka. Okay, Natva Radha. He can't style. Oh, okay. Yeah. Natva Vishnu Padabje Vidhi Pavanamukaihi Sevite Shri Dharabhyam. Natva Radhamcha Bhaktya Pari Mrudu Muditaihi Brahmavatadi Devan. Poornaprajna Stadadin Munikula Tilakan Vyasa Yogisha Varyan Yakurve Vaishnavim Tam Stuti Matim Gahanam Samvide Sajjanan. Yeah. Yeah. There are other Dasarvadas also mentioning Radha. I think these are pretty famous ones. Kadana Vatsana, Harikadana, Radhika Ramana, Radha Ranga. There are many of them like that. Many of them. Which Dasarvada? This one is Vijay Dasaru. Guru Madhvapati Vithala Dasaru has also said that. I mean, I'm not a Dasarpada guy. Some person has sent me all these things as proof. Vyasaraja has also said. Sridhar Vithala Dasaru has told. There are Helvanakatta Giriyam, I think, also has mentioned. They all mention they invoke Vyasaraja Sija Guttila. But you know, Radhika Ramana they refer to Vishnu, Krishna as Radhika Ramana in their verses. Nothing more. Okay. So it is for us to basically figure out. At least that much is from the Puranas we will be able to see.
Is Radha and Radhika same Krishna?
Yeah, they seem to be same. At least. Mediniya Melake Tandu Radhi Vyasaraja ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಏನಂತ ರಾಧಾರಮಣ ಅಂತ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ದೇವ್ರನ್ನ ರಾಧಿಕ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮೇಲೆ ತಂದಾತ ಮೇದಿನೇನ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಬಂದದ ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದೀಸ್ ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರಾಧಾ ಇಸ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಓಕೆ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮನೆ ನಿರ್ಣಯ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ will we put our nirnaya on top of it? The point is that there are two ways to look at this. One is we should not the statements that just extol Radha in terms of Krishna's lover or Radha Ramana antavella dasapada helidashtu matrakke Radha Lakshmi anta aagtale enbodu tappu. Adu sarina? Ashtantu Radha Ramana andidashtu matrakke Radhane Lakshmi aagtale enbodu tappu.
ಪ್ರಾದೇಶಿಕ ಗ್ರಹಣ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಅನಯಾರಾಧಿತವನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅನಯಾರಾಧಿತವನು ಅಂತ ಅವಳೊಬ್ಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಉಪಾಸನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು.
ಅವಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು
ಅನಯಾರಾಧಿತವನು ಅವಳೊಬ್ಬಳನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ.
ಅದು ನೀವು ಹೇಳೋದು ಭಾಗವತ ವಾಕ್ಯ. ಅದು ಅನಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ್ದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರಾಧಿತ. ಅದು ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇದು
ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವಳು ಯಾವಳೊಬ್ಬಳು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೆಸರು ಯಾಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಒಬ್ಬಳು ಯಾವಳೋ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರಿಯಳಾಗಿದ್ಲು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನಿಜ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕಶೇರು ಗೋಪಿಕಾ ಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರು ಅಲ್ಲ. ಕಶೇರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು 16,100 ಅವಳೊಳಗೆ ಕಶೇರು ಬರೋದು ತಾಸನ್ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಕಶೇರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ರಾಧನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ ಕಶೇರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. So the point is that any statement that just mentions Radha Ramana in either our Dasarapada or in Purana is not a pramana. Is not a pramana. Is not a problem for us. There are problems which mention that whichever is mentioning Radha is greater than Lakshmi. All these Purana Pramanas are severe problem for us. ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಬಂದೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಹೋ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಎನಿವೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್. ಒಂದು ರಾಧಾ ಇಸ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಸ್ ನೇಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ವಿರೋಧ ಪರಿಹಾರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಈಸಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ರಾಧಾ ಇಸ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಸ್ ನೇಮ್. ಸೊ ನತ್ವಾ ರಾಧಂ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಾತಾದಿ ದೇವ ನಂಬೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀನ ಹೆಸರು ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ತೊಂದರೆ ಇರೋದು ಹೌದಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ವಿಜೇಂದ್ರ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳದ್ದು ವಾಕ್ಯನೂ ನಮಗೆ ವಿರೋಧ ಅಲ್ಲ. ದಾಸರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿರೋಧ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ where our true virodha is, that is when in these statements which says Krishna is greater than Vishnu or Radha is greater than Lakshmi, or even worse where Radha is equal to Lakshmi, something like Padma Purana quote that we mentioned, okay, where Narada first tells that she is Lakshmi's beauty is also nothing compared to her, and then again says that Lakshmi is this one, right? So this is the true problem for us. How do we do virodha parihara of these things is an interesting part. There are two ways to do it. One I mentioned, which is the traditional perspective. Now I will mention my individual perspective. Please don't take this as something guideline for everybody or anything like that. Okay. Oh, it is for others. I am going to use a historian's perspective here. Okay. We need to have a little bit of research mentality, right? That's why I want to do that this one. So even Jivas Goswami and other Gaudiyas of his age are not aware of these very useful sections where Lakshmi and Radha are mentioned. He says, oh, there are many agamas that tell Radha is Lakshmi, but he hardly quotes any of them. Not even the Padma Purana one that I mentioned, he quotes. Jiva Goswami quotes. He mentions everything else in Padma Purana, but not that section or not similar sections.
In all of his instances where explicitly said that Radha.
Yeah, he has tried to do that. No, not the quotes. He wants to prove that this is Radha. Radha ya Lakshmi Tvam. He says that in many places.
What I'm saying, the Vachanavrutti, is there any Vakya that says this of the one?
No.
No, not at all.
No. I'll tell you. I'll tell you his quotes. One minute. Give me. No, 1 minute. Let me come to his quotes. I think it is necessary to see one of his quotes. Okay. Rukmini, this is there in again many of the quotes today. Rukmini Dwaravatyamtu, Radha Vrindavane Vane, Devaki Mathurayamtu, Patale Parameshwari, Chitrakote Yatha Sita, Vindhye Vindhyavasini. So he uses this kind of quotes. Okay, I'll give you one more actually.
Don't tell me the Yogika, just tell me the Vachanavrutti.
No, there is no Vachanavrutti. That's the point. Actually, I couldn't find it. Maybe a problem with me. Okay. So Varanasyam Vishalakshi, Vimala Purushottame, Rukmini Dwaravatyam cha Radha Vrindavanevani. So he basically uses this kind of quotes to say that Radha is prominent among those particular Gopika Stris or whatever it is. But he also tries to say that, but while the other quotes talk about Parameshwari and basically Parvati and other people being prominent, these quotes, he also tries to push that quote to say that it is also telling that Radha is like Sita and Rukmini in other places.
But those are not Yogika. That is what the question was. Is there any Sakta Vachanavrutti?
No, there is nothing. The only this one, okay. There are some more that he mentions.
That's not the issue.
No, but he praises here. See this one, for example. Sattvam Tattvam Paratvam cha Tattvatrayam Aham Kila. Tri Tattva Rupini Sapi Radhika Mama Vallabha. That kind of stuff is there. But he doesn't, but it means that Lakshmi has a name Radhika is understandable. Our problem is to prove that Radhika in Vrindavana is Lakshmi. There is no such thing there. Okay? And if you see, there is no mention in Bhagavata or Harivamsha or Mahabharata of this one. And prior to 1600, basically, if you go, you will not find many texts mentioning Radha, at least in the basic Vedantic texts. Some people may say that, Vallabhacharya, for example, has quoted Radha Upanishad. Okay. But actually, he has not quoted by the name Radha Upanishad. He has quoted one line which is today found in Radha Upanishad. He calls it as Atharvana Upanishad, basically. We related to the Atharva Veda, that's all. He is not basically mentioning that. So this Radha text, the name has become popular and come into our Vedantic literature, and even Dasakuta literature, only after 1600s, not before. Okay. So if you look at from a pure historian's perspective, right, and if you take for the fact that Acharya has not mentioned when he should have mentioned, it is very clear that Radha is not Lakshmi. The one that Gopikas 3 there is not Lakshmi. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ಕಂದ ಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಇದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಬಂದೆ ಅದು ಅದಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದು ಏನ್ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ಮಿನಿಟ್, ಹೌದು, ಆಲ್ ಯುವರ್ ಅಧಿಕ ಮಾಸ and your Adhika Masa has a different problem. I'll come to that one later. But Adhika Masa, Brihannaradiyavara Purana Adhika Masa, and Lakshmi Narayana Samhita Adhika Masa, and then you have Kartika Masa Mahatmya in Padma Purana and in Santa Purana. Okay, he ಹೇಳೋದು ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. ವೃಂದಾವನಾಧಿಪತ್ಯಂ ಚ ದಸ್ಯೇ. ನಾನ್ ಪ್ರಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ಅಂತಂದೆ. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ 2 ವ್ಯೂ ನೋಡಿಸ್ದೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. I have told 2 views. One, it is Mohaka. Okay, one, it is Mohaka. If you want to basically take the Purana on its face value, you have to say it is Mohaka. If you take a historian's perspective, they are basically prakshipta only. Okay. ಅದೇ ಮೋಹಕ ಅಂತಂದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೀನು ಅದು ಮೋಹಕಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗೆ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ನೇಮ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರಾಧಾ. ಸೊ ವೇರ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ರಾಧಾ ಆರ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವಳು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ. ರಾಧಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ. ಇವಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಪುರಾಣದ ಅದೇ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ರಾಧಾ ಪದ್ಮ ಪುರಾಣ ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅರ್ಧ ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಂಚಿಂದ ಏನಿದೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಪದ್ಮ ಪುರಾಣ. ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾಳೆ ಬಂದು ನೋಡ್ದಾಗ ಅವಳು ಏನು ರಾಧಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಿಂದಲೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣನಿಗೆ ನೈವೇದ್ಯ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಆಹಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ದಿನ ಅವಳಿಗೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದರಿಂದ ಕೃಷ್ಣನಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಶೋಧ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ. ಯಶೋಧ ಮೊದಲು ಇರುವಾಗನೇ ರಾಧಾ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಪದ್ಮಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಸ್, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಐ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ನೌ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಸಚ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ದ್ವಾರಾವತಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದವರು, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣೀಶ್ವರದಲ್ಲೂ ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು. ರುಕ್ಮಿಣೀಶ್ವರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವತಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಹಂಗ ಪೂರ ತುಂಬಿ ಭೋಗ ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಹೌದು, ಅದನ್ನ ಕೂಡಿಸಬಹುದು ಸರ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ದಟ್ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಬ್ರೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಆಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರಾಧಾಸ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್. ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಗೋಕುಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ. ಹೌದು, ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಇದೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈನ್. ಅದು ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫೈನ್. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ is ರಾಧಾ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ herself ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿನ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಲ್ಕು ಬಂದು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಧಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವಳು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕೃಷ್ಣನಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ದಿವಸ. ಅದಾದ್ರೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅದೇ ಆ ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾರದರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಊಟ ಹೋಗೋದು, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಗಮಕ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಗಮಕ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ನೋಡ್ರಿ,
ಅವ್ರು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಭಯಂಕರ ವಚನಗಳಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಿಮಿಷ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಅದೊಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. Narada sees that he sees a form that is unavailable to Brahma and Rudra. Okay, number 1. ನಿಮಿಷ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನ ಅವರು? ಈ ಸೇಸ್ ನಾನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಲೋಕಕ್ಕೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು, ರುದ್ರಲೋಕಕ್ಕೂ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಪಾರ್ವತಿನ ನೋಡಿದೀನಿ, ಆಕಿಗೂ ಏನ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀನ್ ನೋಡಿದೀನಿ, ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ನೋಡಿದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ನೋಡಿದೀನಿ. ಈಗಿನ ಮುಂದೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸೌಂದರ್ಯ ಏನೇನು ಲೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ರಾಧಾಂತ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯಕ್ಕೂ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀನ್ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರ ನೀವು? ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರ?
ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ ವಿರುದ್ಧ
ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರ? ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮುಂದೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಇಸ್ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಆದ್ಯಂತರಯೋರ್ ವಿರುದ್ಧಂ ಯತ್ ತದ್ ದರ್ಶನ ಉದಾಹೃತಂ.
ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅದಲ್ಲ. ಭಾಗವತ ಆತ್ಮನಿರ್ಣಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವಳು ಯಾರು ಸ್ವಯಂಭೂಮನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಶತರೂಪ, ಅವಳು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗಿಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡವಳು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಚಾರ ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಆ ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯ ಇಟ್ಕೊಬೋದು.
ಹಾಗೆ ಬರ್ದ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ವಿವಕ್ಷೆಯಿಂದ ಹೇಳಿ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಆವೇಶ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ನೀವು ವಾಕ್ಯವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಸಮನ್ವಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅನುಕೂಲವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ.
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಮನ್ವಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ?
ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯ ಬರ್ತೀರ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮನ್ವಯ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ?
ಏನು ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ
ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಹಂಗೆ ಇದು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಈಗ ಸನ್ನಿಧಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಕೂಡಿಸ್ರಿ ನೀವು.
ಶತರೂಪ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ನೀವು ಆ ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂಡಿಸ್ರಿ.
ಶತರೂಪ ಅಂತ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶತರೂಪನೇ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಶತರೂಪ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನೋ ಬೇರೆ ವಿವಕ್ಷೆಯಿಂದ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಶತರೂಪನೇ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ.
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಅದು ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಕಿನೇ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅದು?
ಕೃಷ್ಣನೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನು ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿದ
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ ಅದ್ರೊಳಗೆ.
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ,
ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ವಿರುದ್ಧನೇ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಎರಡೂ ವಿರುದ್ಧನೇ. ಅದೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಸುರನ್ ಮೋಹನ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಐದರ್ ಯು ಸಾರಿ
ವೆರಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿಕ್ಯೂಸ್ಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಧೆ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿಕ್ಯೂಸ್ಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್.
See, it depends on where you put her.
That is the crux of.
That is one of the points.
That is one.
See, when there are 3 points that where Radha should have been mentioned but not mentioned. Okay. One during marriage. Okay. Before that, during childbirth. If Lakshmi was there, he would have told about that. Okay. Or during marriages, starting from Neela to Rukmini, Satyabhama, and all those. Post marriage also, Acharya mentions, what is their Swarupa and their Taratama. Okay. Then finally exit. All these 3 points are places where if Lakshmi was there in Radha, or Lakshmi was Radha herself, and if he doesn't mention, it will lead to misinformation. It is Nyunata dosha. We cannot avoid that.
Also in reference to Bhagavata, it is not.
Bhagavata, Harivansa, Mahabharata is not there. But see, ಅದು ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಪುರಾಣಗಳು ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು.
ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದು ವೇದವ್ಯಾಸ, ಪುರಾಣ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ವೇದವ್ಯಾಸ. ಈಗ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಭಾಗವತನ ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಪುರಾಣಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ಫರ್ ಭಾಗವತ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಪುರಾಣ?
ಭಾಗವತ ಅಂತ
ಭಾಗವತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ನಮ್ದೊಳ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ವಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಪೌರುಷೇಯ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ವೇದ ಮೊದಲು, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣ್ಯ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸೂತ್ರಗಳು ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅದು ನಿರ್ಣಾಯಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದು ಮಹಾಭಾರತ. ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದನ್ ಭಾಗವತ ಅಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ಪುರಾಣಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಇವನ್ ಪಂಚರಾತ್ರಗಳು. ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಇಸ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಂತೂ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ವಿರೋಧ ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ಅಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ವಿರೋಧ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಈಸ್ ಎ ನಾನ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಅಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಅನುಕ್ತಿ ಎಂಬುದು ವಿರೋಧನೋ ಅಲ್ಲವೋ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ.
ಇನ್ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
ಅದು ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ ಇನ್ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ನಾವು ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
If it was significant, would have mentioned it. So that's the point again.
No, my point is not just he is significant. He has not told it when he should have. Therefore, it is therefore non-mention means absence.
Non-mention of a significant thing is
non-mention of significant thing is
Absence of evidence is evidence of absence ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ ಯಾವಾಗ ಯೋಗ್ಯತ್ವ ಸತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಗ್ಯತ್ವ ಇದೆ he should have been told, he should have told, he shouldn't tell.
Therefore Radha is not that significant is your stand.
Therefore Radha is not Lakshmi.
Not which is the significance basically.
If Lakshmi or herself, yes, significance would have been.
Not
And in all these three instances that are mentioned over there.
what is the final
Radha is not Lakshmi.
ಗುರು ಪಕ್ಷ ಇದೆ.
That's the
next ಬರ್ರಿ ಬಂದ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ
ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್
ದಾಸ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ವಾದಿರಾಜರು ಶ್ರೀಧವಿಠಲರು ಹೀಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ದಾಸರುಗಳು ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿ ರಾಧೆಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರನ್ನು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರ ಹೆಸರು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಸಲೀಲೆಯನ್ನ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 99% ರಾಧೆಯ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಇದನ್ನ ವ್ರಜವನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನೇನು ಮಥುರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾದನ ವತ್ಸವ ಹರಿಕಾದನ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ರಾಧೆಯ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖವೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯನಿರ್ಣಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ ಮಾನಂದ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಶ್ಲೋಕವನ್ನ ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯನಿರ್ಣಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ವೃಂದಾವನದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ ಎನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಇದೆ.
ಅದು ಸಾವಕಾಶ
ಸಾವಕಾಶ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಯಾರು ರುಕ್ಮಿಣಿ ಸತ್ಯಭಾಮ ಇವರ ಯಾರ ಪ್ರಸಂಗವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀಲನ್ನ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ ನೀಲ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ನೀಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣನನ್ನ ಮೊದಲು ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಮೊದಲು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು, ಅನಂತರ ಅದೇ ನೀಲ ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಗ್ನಜಿದ್ರಾಜನ ಮಗಳಾಗಿ ಬಂದು ಆ ಹಳೆ ನೀಲ ಈ ನೀಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವೇಶ ಮಾಡಲು ಅನ್ನೋ ಅಂಶವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀಲಾ ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದವನ್ನು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿಯು ವಿಹಾರ ಮಾಡದ ಅಂತ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಂದಿರಾ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕ
ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ
ಅಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ದಟ್ ಇಂದಿರಾ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ.
ಇಂದಿರಾ
ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಂದಿರಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದದಿಂದ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಯಾಕೆ ತಗೋಬೇಕು? ಇಂದಿರಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಬೋಣ ಅಂತ.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆವೇಶ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್ವೇ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹಂಗೆ
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಧೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಆವೇಶ ಇದೆ.
ಹೌದು, ಎಲ್ಲರೊಳಗೂ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಆವೇಶ ಇದೆ. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಅಂಗಸಂಗ ಯಾರಿಗಾಗುತ್ತದೋ ಅವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ
ಸರಿ, ಕೇವಲ ಅಂಗಸಂಗ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಇರುವ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಪಕವಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರ ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಹೇಳದೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಪಕವಾಗಿ ರಾಧೆಯ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು? ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ರಾಧಾ ವಕ್ಷಸ್ಥಲಾಶ್ರಿತ ಅಂತ ಕೃಷ್ಣ
ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದ್ರೂ ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಧಾ ಇತಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಯ ನಾಮ.
ರಾಧಾ ವಿಷ್ಣು ವಕ್ಷಸ್ಥಲಾಶ್ರಿತ ಅಂತ
ಬರ್ತಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರ.
ಮಾಸನಿಯಾಮಕ ರೂಪಗಳ ಪತ್ನಿಯ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
ಇಂದಿರಾ ದಾಮೋದರ ಅಂತ
ತೀರ್ಥರದು ಕೇಶವ ಚತುರ್ವಿಂಶತಿ ಕೇಶವ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಇಂದಿರಾ ದಾಮೋದರ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹೌದು,
ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಪಂಚಾಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಧಾ ದಾಮೋದರ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟது.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಾರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ತುಳಸಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನದ ಮುಂದೆ ರಾಧಾ ದಾಮೋದರನ್ನೇ ಬರೆಯೋದು.
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದನೇ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಅದೇ ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂದಿರಾ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಧಾ ಒಂದೇ ಅನ್ನುವ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇಂದಿರಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದದಿಂದ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಇದು
ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ,
ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಧಕ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ವಚನ ವೃತ್ತಿಯ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಸಾವಕಾಶ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ?
ಸಿಂಹಾಚಾರ್ಯ ವಾಕ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಇಂದಿರಾ ಆನಂದ ಪೂರ್ಣೋ ವೃಂದಾವನೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನಂದಯಾಮಾಸ ನಂದಾದಿ तावतर चेष्टितैः तत्तु आगतम्
राधादि
क्रीडासन्दर्भे नास्ति एव एतत्
ಅಷ್ಟೇ
क्रीडासन्दर्भे नास्ति
ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ವೃಂದಾವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಚರಣೆ
ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ
ಬರ್ಲಿ
ಆನಂದಪೂರ್ಣ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಆನಂದಪೂರ್ಣ ಅವನು ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಸಂತೋಷಪಡಿಸಲ
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಿಮ್ದು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಜಯರಾಸೋತ್ಸವ ರಥ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಶ.
ಅದು ಕಾರ್ತಿಕ ಮಾಸದ ಅದು ಪಂಚರಾತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಜಯರಾಸೋತ್ಸವ ರಥ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿ ತಸ್ಯಾ ಈಶಾ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ಲು? ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಉಭಾವಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾವಕಾಶವೇ
ಸಾವಕಾಶ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ
ಅನ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಒಪ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ
ಸಾವಕಾಶ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಬಾಧಕ ಏನು?
ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನ ಇಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಪಕವಾಗಿ
ಅನ್ಯತ ಪುರಾಣದ್ದು ಈ ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಂತೂ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನೇರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ,
ವಚನ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ,
ವಚನ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯುಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ತಂದು ಆ ರಾಧನ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ರಾಧನ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ತಾಗಿ ನಾನು
ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ನಾನು ಹಾಗೆ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನೇ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹುಡುಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಮಾಡದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಅದೊಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹುಡುಕ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ.
ಇನ್ನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮರ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಾರಾಯಣ ಅಷ್ಟಾಕ್ಷರ ಕಲ್ಪ ಅದು ಬೇರೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂದಿರ ತಗೊಂಡು ನೀಲ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಪಪತ್ತಿ ಏನು?
ನೀಲ ಅಂತನ
ನೀಲ ಅಂತ
ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ? ಇಂದಿರಾಪತಿಗ
ಅನುಪಪತ್ತಿ ಏನು?
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅವಳು
ನೀಲೆ ನೀಲೆಯನ್ನ ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲು ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಸಂಘ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನೀಲೆಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಳಾಗಿದೆ.
ಹೌದು, ನೀಲೆಯನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ.
ಇವ್ರು ಬಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ
ವಿವೇಕ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ
ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ನಿಮ್ದು ನಾನು ಸಾರಿ ನೀವೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕ್ರಿ, ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕೇನ? ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ಹೇಳಿ
ವಿವೇಕ್.
ಹೇಳಿ.
ಈಗ ನೀಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂದೇಹ ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ. ಪೂರ್ವ ನೀಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂದೇಹ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವತಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎರಡನೇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಅವಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಬೇರೆ.
ಉಪನಯನಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು
ಉಪನಯನ ಮೊದಲು. ಹೌದು ಹೌದು ಹೌದು.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೃಂದಾವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ
ಹೌದು ಹೌದು
ಅವಳು ರಾಸ ಕ್ರೀಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ಲು.
ಹೌದು.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇವರ ಅಂಗಸಂಗ ಅವಳಿಗೂ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಹೌದು.
ಅವಳು ಸನ್ಮಹಿಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಳು.
ಹೌದು.
ರಾಧಾ ಅಂದ್ರ ವೃದ್ಧ ಅಂತ ಧಾತು ಇದೆ.
ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತನ?
ವೃದ್ಧಾನ ಏನೋ ಧಾತು ಏನು? ರಾಧಾ
ವೃದ್ಧೌ ಸಂಸರ್ಗವು ಸಂಸಿದ್ಧವು
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಳು
ಸಂಸಿದ್ಧವು ಎರಡು ಇದೆ.
ರಾಧಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳು ಅಂತ. ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳು ಅಂತ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವೃದ್ಧ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳು,
ಪೂರ್ಣಳು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ.
ಪೂರ್ಣಳು ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳು, ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠತ್ವ. ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರೊಳಗೆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಳಾಗಿದ್ದ ನೀಳಗೆ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ನಾಳೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಬನ್ನಂಜಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅದೇ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದ್ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಿವೇಕ್ ಅವ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ರಾಧಾದು ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಅಣ್ಣ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು,
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ.
ಅವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ರಾಧಾ ನೀಲ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರಿ?
ವಿಜಯೇಂದ್ರ ಹೇಳಿದ ರಾಧಾ, ದಾಸರು ಹೇಳಿದ ರಾಧಾ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಗೋಪಿಕಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರೊಳಗೆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠನಾಗಿದ್ದ ನೀಲ.
ಅದ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ವಿಜೇಂದ್ರ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳದ್ದು ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ನೀವ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. ವಿಜೇಂದ್ರ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳದ್ದು ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಏನಂತಾರೆ, ನತ್ವಾ ರಾಧಾಂಶ ಭಕ್ತ್ಯ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಾತಾದಿ ದೇವಾನ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಾಧಾಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಾಯು ದೇವತೆಗಳು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವಳು ನೀಲೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು, ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಇದಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ವೇದಾನಾನ್ ಸಾಮವೇದೋಸ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಮಾತು ಗೀತಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವೇದಾನಾನ್ ಸಾಮವೇದೋಸ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಮಾತು ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ.
ಹೌದು, ಋಗ್ವೇದ ಆದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ.
ಋಗ್ವೇದನೇ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಯಜುರ್ವೇದಕ್ಕೆ ವಾಯುದೇವರ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳು, ಸಾಮವೇದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀದೇವಿ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಷ್ಟವ್ರು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದು.
ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ರಾಧಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರೊಳಗಿರೋ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಸನ್ನಿಧಾನ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಗೆ ಹೆಸರಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಮುಗ್ದೈತಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಅನುಕೂಲ
ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ವೃಂದಾವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣನು
ವೃಂದಾವನ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ರಾಧಾನೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ?
ರಾಧಾ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇದ್ಲು, ರಾಧಾ ವೃಂದಾವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇದ್ರು.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸರಿ, ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ವಿವೇಕ್ ಅವರೇ?
ಅವರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ರಾಧೆಯನ್ನು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಸಾವಕಾಶ ಆಗತ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು. ಕಲ್ಪನಾ ಗೌರವ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅದ ನಿಮ್ದ್ರೊಳಗೆ. ಸರಿ, ಇನ್ನ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಾಠಕ್ಕೆ ಓಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿ.
I thank Shri Krishna for meticulous and rigorous research on the subject, and we hope we will have more discussions on these things. One more discussion that we may have about the Krishna Chaitanya himself.
ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಚೈತನ್ಯದಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ
Allah, we can have it. What I think. I thank all of you. Patiently, you are listening to all these lectures for last 2.5 years of hours. Sarvebhyo Namaha.
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ ಸರ್?
Sarvebhyo Namaha.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
Krishnarpanamastu. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare